Click the first link in the description for the best Askreddit content. My wife constantly judges me while going through grief. 2 months ago my wife, 34F lost her mother suddenly and unexpectedly. I've, 37 meters been trying to support her, but recently I've been messing up and failing, leaving her insecure and distraught. My wife is a bit of a hoarder and we always have at least one room for the hoard. Right now we are using 4 rooms and we need to take the things that haven't sold from her mother's, which we are going to spread out and restack 2 rooms. I really struggle to live like this. We've been together 6 years, living together for 5. I make suggestions that are usually well received, but whenever the time comes to action them she changes her tune, tells me I don't know what I am doing and that I'm being selfish by taking control from her. I want to be there for her, but when I make myself available she just wants to watch TV. That is until our 1-year-old daughter needs attention, so I play with her. If I suggest I do the dishes she takes this as a betrayal. I don't want to spend time with her. I'm being selfish by doing the easy and obvious bit and not really managing a home like she is. I work full-time while she is being full-time mother and managing the fallout from her mother's death. She was going to start a child-minding business and we've put much time and money into doing it, but because she was working on it the day her mother died, she's told me the child-minding idea is cursed and we can't possibly do it now. She's been threatening me with divorce when we argue, telling me I'm a liability to the family. She doesn't want to sell her mother's house and threatens to move in there before our daughter gains a permanent memory of me. I try to let these things go, but it does make me insecure. Whenever these insecurities come out it's always my stupid bullshit compared to her real problems. Her mother is dead. Try to take responsibility for the situation, but I can't change her, which leads to her telling me to explain myself and my actions without taking aim at her, which leaves me triggered, stammering and speechless as I try to find a way to blame myself for feeling shitty about things she's told me and being unable to let go of my bullshit and needs. The other night she came downstairs and told me she'd been crying, but I was insecure from earlier nights and exhausted from moving stuff and looking after our daughter. All I could manage was a simple bless you, and I couldn't think straight for what she needed. This really hurt her and we did our argument dance once again, but we are both feeling so shit from it. She tells me that she would suffer every day for our daughter and I should be prepared to do so too. But she tells me she would divorce me for the good of our daughter because she won't let her see me gaslighting her with a victim complex. I suspect she's depressed, but she has a psychology degree and believes therapy is all a fraud. She subscribes to a psychic stream which she says helps but rarely has anything specifically for her. I went to therapy a few years ago but had to stop when she thought I was using it as a way to bitch about her for an hour a week. How can I best support her when she's like this? TL Doctor, my wife lost her mother and all her worst qualities have amplified. Your wife is mentally ill in a way that will lead to health and safety hazards for your daughter. Parents have their children taken away by the state for allowing them to live in hoards. If your wife refuses therapy and intensive treatment, you need to get your daughter out of there. Your wife needs grief counseling. She isn't over the death of her mother. She may need a whole separate counseling for the hoarding behavior. That sounded like it started before the death anyway. You've been enabling your wife. At least one room is dedicated to the hoard. No rooms should be dedicated to a hoard. Not 4, not 2, not 1, none. By allowing her to do this instead of pursuing therapy, she has sunk deeper into her self-destructive habits, hence why you now have 4 rooms dedicated to her hoarding. I mean this in the nicest way possible. She treats you like shit because you've let her do it. And she's not going to stop, because she doesn't want to. If she wanted to stop hoarding she would go to therapy. If she wanted to cope with her mother's death she would go to therapy. If she didn't want to be abusive to her husband she would go to therapy. But she won't, because she doesn't want to. My best advice is to start gathering evidence for a divorce. If you're a one-party consent state, record her when she emotionally attacks you. Detangle your finances. Take photos of her hoard for custody arrangements for your daughter. As another commenter pointed out, hoarding is a definite cause for CPS to take your daughter away. Your wife is very mentally ill and abusive towards you. This isn't something that you can fix for her. To fix something like this, she has to want to change, and she prefers to just get her way even if it hurts you. At this stage, try to contact a lawyer and figure out what you need to do to divorce her. Most fathers who ask for custody get it, so being proactive now is your best bet if you want to continue seeing your child. My guy, I grew up in a hoarder's house and I promise you, you're doing a massive disservice to your daughter letting her live there with someone who is comparing problems, tearing you down, making everything your fault and not acknowledging the positives. Yeah, she's grieving and that sucks, but she needs to get help for that. That's not on you. Threatening a breakup and making you seem like you're just an option for her, like she's doing you a favor by being with you, is absolutely disgusting, and that's not love. You need to move out and call CPS on her or something. Kids shouldn't live in hoarders' houses or with abusive parents. She's like this towards you now, but what if it isn't just you? What if she gets like this with your daughter while you aren't around? This sounds way too much like my mother, so I fear for your child. A kid needs better living conditions and you need to be treated with respect. You're a human being and not everything is about her, and that crappy behavior shouldn't slide just because she lost her mother. I want to set clear financial boundaries with my girlfriend. I've, 24M, been dating my partner, 22F, for 9 months currently. I'm currently working full-time, bringing in a below-average salary, and she is currently working a temp job for the next month. Before she was temping, she was unemployed. This has led to a situation where I have an okay amount of money coming in, and she doesn't have any. I'm pretty frugal, but I take us on dates frequently and normally cover it myself, unless she is adamant about splitting or paying. This morning she confessed that she feels I should be providing more for her due to her financial situation. I explained that she needed to communicate this better, as she'd been paying for things that she expected me to pay for and then getting passive-aggressive about it. I think I just feel a bit unsure because on one hand, I am more than happy to spend money on my girlfriend, but on the other, she won't communicate what she wants and just expects me to know. Sometimes she makes me feel guilty for not wanting to spend money, which in turn makes me spend more money. I don't know if this is healthy. I want to set a clear financial boundary with my girlfriend. I love getting her gifts and taking her on dates, but I feel like it's unfair for her to be passive-aggressive about not spending money on her. Too long didn't read. GF is earning less than me and is making me feel guilty for not spending more money on dates. Gift sect. I want to set a financial boundary. Tell your girlfriend that you don't speak in tease. If she expects something, then she should spell it out. By the way, if she can't afford certain things, then she's kinda rude expecting you to not just pay for her but to be happy to do so. Are you living together? Why so many gifts in 9 months during an unprecedented unstable time in modern history? Slow your roll, go out once a week, gifts on special occasions. Financial boundaries are easy. Look up how to budget, make one and tell her you'll be sticking to it and you aren't bankrupting your future. That is the line I use with men when they try to pull crap like this with me. Shuts them right up. She's an adult, she needs to be providing for herself. Relationships are partnerships. This is not a partnership, this is her looking to use you and not making genuine efforts at being able to provide for herself. My husband makes more than I do, so we have a fair percentage arrangement for the finances, and I let him know when I'm worried I'll come up short for something so we can manage it together. That's a partnership. That's working together to make joint expenses feasible. This girl is using you and outright communicating to you that the expectation is for you to enable her immaturity. You need to stop buying her anything, right now, and establish the boundary that relationships are partnerships. This is not the 1800s, and that she is capable of providing for herself. Manipulation and guilt trips and entitlement are never healthy, ever. This morning she confessed that she feels I should be providing more for her due to her financial situation. Why are you responsible for providing for her? You are already paying for most dates, which is fine, with her current income. But her expecting you to do more is out of line, emo. My probably autistic roommate, 20M, has anger issues and makes the rest of my roommates and myself, 18M, feel uncomfortable and unsafe. Hey guys, so I, 18M, recently moved to college in Arizona with two of my close friends and their brothers. Our apartment had 3 two-person bedrooms, so my friends and their brothers took 2, and I took the one with the mystery person, 20M. Since we've moved in he's seemed off. He's been mostly friendly, but when he gets annoyed he yells and whines, like when we paused a movie to wait for a friend. This morning I woke up at 6 AM to slamming cupboards and doors, including the one in my room. I just tried to fall back asleep, but I heard him moaning in the bathroom. I walked in and the face of one of the vanities drawers was ripped off the nails, and the rest of the drawer was slammed and stuck. He immediately apologized and said he gets worked up sometimes over things from the past and breaks things. He then proceeded to panic over the cost of the broken drawer, and I had to calm him down so he wouldn't wake everyone else up. I'm nearly 100% sure he is on the spectrum, especially since I worked with many of the kids with autism at my school, and the way he acts around the house reminds of them a lot. How do I deal with him? He's a nice dude overall, but he has some serious anger issues that are easy to set off, not to mention he's a big guy, about a foot taller than me. It makes me and all my other roommates uncomfortable. I don't want him to get mad and start breaking my stuff or the apartment's. I don't want to have to pay for damages he's done just because we share a room and bathroom. Too long didn't read. My large and probably autistic roommate got mad and ripped the face off of a drawer at 6 AM and I don't know what to think of that. Any advice y'all? Edit, just got out of class and will work on responding to all comments. Thanks. This depends how you feel about him and what you want to do. Are you genuinely afraid of him? Do you want him to move out? If you do just want to talk to him, do it while he is chill, not in the moment when he is stressed. Talk calmly and express some clear boundaries, in a fair way that's not too harsh. I have a family member with autism. You need to remember that if he is in university and living alone he is pretty high functioning, and can learn to curb his behavior to some extent. Hopefully he is getting some support elsewhere, and can continue to work on these issues. Simply remind him it's not okay to break other people's things, or shared things, that this is something he will need to work on. Next time he is upset he needs to pay attention and either sit down, or go for a walk to chill himself out before he starts trying to do any activities in the home where he might get frustrated. You can really only encourage him, and direct his attention to notice it's an area he will need to work on, and see where it goes from there. I'll certainly try that. Thanks. I'd only want him to move out if he keeps acting like this. Other than the outbursts he's fine. I'm not afraid of him, but I've only known him a week. Forget your diagnosis of the guy. You should be looking out for yourself, which makes the reason for his destructive behavior less relevant. Sounds like university housing. I might be wrong, but typically people renting an apartment don't have a mystery person, and if a person that your school matched you up with turns out pretty quickly to be someone who gets worked up sometimes over things from the past and breaks things, and who's bigger than you, and who makes you all concerned for your safety and your cost for his outbursts, you need to contact housing and tell them all of that. The sooner the better too. When I was in college I waited too long to report my issues with my roommate and I was stuck with her vindictive ass for the rest of the semester. I think all of this entirely depends on where you live. If this is an apartment with a private landlord, you're all responsible for the damages he causes if everyone's name is on the lease. Do you all have separate leases? University housing is so varied that it really depends. All of you could be on the same lease, or each of you could have a separate lease for your bed. There may be separate leases for the rooms, who knows. If this is a university-run housing situation, then I would talk to someone at the university so maybe they can find him alternate arrangements. While I'm sympathetic to the fact he has autism, he chose to live with other people, so he needs to figure out a way to control himself. You and your roommates should not have to worry about walking on eggshells in your own home in order to avoid setting him off. People have asked for roommate changes over much less. If this is a private landlord, not affiliated with the university, it still may be worthwhile to reach out to the landlord and let them know what's going on. If this roommate is going to destroy the property, the landlord may choose to terminate their lease. I also think it's worth mentioning that it's not your responsibility to help this person manage their anger issues and/or autism. If they are not in a position to live in an apartment without destroying things, respecting boundaries, and observing common courtesy, then unfortunately this person is not in a position to live with other people and should probably live alone or with family. It's nice that you want to be sensitive to your roommate who has different needs from you, but there are plenty of people on the autism spectrum who refrain from this type of behavior. Please don't let that stand in the way of your safety in your own home. Is this college-run housing or off-campus? It's off-campus approved by the university.